Hello, my name is Dorian. They, them pronouns. It's the morning of October 12th. Good morning, anybody, everybody. Yeah, just gonna be a random personal blog video type thing or whatever. Random thoughts. Okay, good morning. I wanted to show off my shirt, Velociraptor. Alright, words will go out of the screen here. And my hair. Ha ha ha. I just did this yesterday for fun because I've always wanted to have green hair. So now I have green hair, but for Halloween. Okay, why am I making random blog video? So today is my 2-year sober anniversary, and so I figured I ought to have some kind of profound thoughts or something, or just digest it, or whatever that means, or whatever, ramble on about it, I don't know, things and stuff, or whatever. Anyway, this is coffee. Alright, thoughts, I don't know. Maybe I will not think about it. Random thoughts that are just in my head right now, just thinking about right in this present moment. There's a spider that's outside my window that I can see from if I look through the kitchen window to the garage. I've been watching this spider like Charlotte's Web, like it's a really big honkin' thing, and like every day I like to watch it and like watch it build its web and like see if it's still there and like look out the window and be like, hi spider. And so I'm just, the last couple of days I didn't see the web and I didn't see the spider, and I start to feel a little sad, like, oh no, like it is getting colder out, like did it die, like did the web get swept away, like whatever. And then I would go and like kind of look underneath the siding of the garage, and I saw like this like speck up in there, and I was kind of hoping that was the spider, that the spider was just hiding or recuperating and was gonna come back out, but I couldn't tell if it was just like dirt or what, but I was kind of hoping, but I was kind of sad, like where's the spider? And then today I thought I saw the spider, so I ran out there in the morning to like look for the spider, and sure enough the spider was like out in midair, like on its web, and like the speck of dirt that I saw under the siding, wasn't there. So yeah, maybe that was the spider like kind of tucking in there, and so it's coming out and it's like rebuilding its web or something, and like the morning dew is on it, and so I was just like, oh hi spider. So that was making me feel good this morning. Other random things, I had some coffee, had some mixed nuts, yeah, stuff, whatever. Put out some bird seed for the birds. It's kind of a gray, rainy morning. I don't know. Okay, random thoughts. What do I want to say? What do I want to think about? What thoughts do I have on the last year? What have I heard from other people about what it's like? I don't know. Some people have said that it's easy, or like, once you get over the first week or the first 2 weeks or the first month or something, or the first year, then it's easy. I'm like, well, anyway, it wasn't easy for me. But easy is such a vague term. Like, fucking first week is probably like the hard, like that first right at the beginning is severely hard on a number of levels that I don't really want to think about. But even just like if I go back and I watch the video that I uploaded to YouTube like a year ago, and just like me incidentally having captured like this raw moment where I'm like, I mean, my heart's always on my sleeve, and like I'm always a fucking raw nerve, but like just you could, like, I could feel like just really just raw. And it's like, okay, well, right now in this moment, like, I don't feel like that raw. But I hesitate to say that I feel healthy either. Um, and I was pondering the other day that I don't think I like the word healthy either. It's vague, and I don't want to get into like ableist kinds of thinkings and what does that even mean to be healthy or not. It's just I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where my brain wants to go with random ramblings. Um, Something about on a basic level, if I was to ask myself the question, like, do I feel healthier now compared to something? Eh. Well, like I think on a physical, yeah, I think on a physical level, definitely because you're just not fucking dying every day of physical pain and just all the things. But I don't know. I This isn't a good or bad thing. This is just a statement of fact. I lost a lot of weight all at once. My weight flux, like severe well, not well, relatively severe extreme levels of weight fluctuation over the years, I can correlate with drinking for me for sure. And I know it's a metabolic disease that impairs how you're able to. It's, one could argue that alcoholism is a nutritional disease. I'm not a medical anything, just from what I've heard or thought or been taught about it or whatever. Your inability to absorb various nutrients and like vitamin B deficiencies and I don't know, starvation or binge eating or weird ways of intaking calories or something or other. I don't know, just it's fucking with your whole GI system and like a lot. So some people could just lose complete like weight loss and like muscle wasting, and like for me like there was a lot of weight gain and then so like kind of like rapid weight loss. But I think over the last couple of months I've finally started to like plateau out, which I think is maybe making me start to feel a little better, that my weight is kind of like settling instead of like rapidly going up and down or something. I don't know, that's one component, was that. Part of the problem is with us being in such a fat phobic society, and people would be like, oh, you look whatever. And it's just like, shut up. Like, I'm not trying to lose weight. It's just a statement of fact of like one component that is occurring. And then you want to feel better that you feel healthier, but you don't want to feel better that you're thinner and like trying to, break all of that fat phobic thing that we've all been raised with. There are things that make it easier having less weight, but also because society is designed around thinner people. So it's like, well, fitting in space is better at work, but that's not a good thing. They should design wider area. Like, a lot of buildings you work, they're not plus size accessible, and like so I can definitely empathize with all the struggles of like sitting in seats and like being in hallways and being at work and bumping and all this stuff. And it's like we need to design buildings and things architecturally to be just better for more. That's the whole all other rant there about how we need to be more tolerant in our society and how we design our buildings and everything. Whatever. So one component, other stuff, eating habits. How's my appetite? Well, sort of. Sometimes I feel like I have no appetite at all, and sometimes I do think I get into like sort of not eating binging patterns, and aware of the fact that there could be elements of eating disorder in there, but also just weird ways I think my appetite is. But even I think at my healthiest, I was never much of a breakfast person and just grab a handful of something and then just go all day and then kind of like eat a big meal in the evening or snack throughout the day. But I think for the most part, I'm trying to get on a good trajectory of eating habits and like eating healthier foods too. It's all wrapped up in it because it's like, I don't know, for me, like when I'm wasted and everything, and like it's like you want nachos and you want potatoes and you want all these heavy carbs. And like right now, a lot of that doesn't sound appealing to me. It's like I want more lighter things and like poke bowls, well, and like other stuff. I don't know. So it's all in the mix of that's a topic. What are what are other subtopics of this umbrella topic? On the concept of sober birthday, celebratory. Should I feel celebratory? Yes and no. Like, I don't feel happy as an operative word, but there should be an element of, is this pride? Pride, proud, accomplishment of some sort. But it feels weird to put it in terms of accomplishment either. It's like, well, you struggle for years and years to quit, and then it's like then you have to always think of it. Should you think of it in terms of like succeeding and failing over and over and over again? It's just so it's like if you were to congratulate somebody on their accomplishment, what is that implying about someone else who didn't manage to make it sober the next day? Like they're being shamed enough already. Like, and have some empathy. And like I guess this idea of like always on a knife's edge of realizing that like there's no guarantee that you make it 3 years. There's no guarantee that you make it 2.5 months, or like it's always like feeling for me this sense of like like one of my friends was like, well, you're not an alcoholic anymore. Yes, I am, very much so. Like it's just someone who's not actively drinking this minute, because I still feel that way of like, anyway, this idea of, it could go any minute and then you could be back at square one. And then it's just like, like to be really real and really honest, like, I was at a point where I couldn't be sober more than 3 days. Like 3 days was like the first is easy because you're just complete shit. But then, by the middle of the second, like you're, needing it pretty hard. And then, okay, maybe you can make 2 days. Okay, the third feels like an accomplishment. You make 3, but then you really start to get into like the insomnia and the nightmares and all the other things. It's like the farthest I could go was 3 days. And I remember that feeling, and like, my bladder was fucked up and like my organs are fucked. I can tell it was pretty hardcore. Like, you're not supposed to be able to palpate your liver. Like, and like one time I made it 9 days, but then it was back to just 3 days. And so it's like, I very much can know that feeling of like, where, again, a friend of mine said, well, 9 days is big, yeah, it is. But it's like this idea of like, okay, well, if I were to, what's the word, relapse, if I were to like have a drink tomorrow or something, I don't know if I would have it in me. Like, first of all, the idea that like you'd be right back in it, like fully, not like gradually, like, one drink and you're there. And then the other idea being, I think a lot of planets aligned to get me to the point where sobering up this time worked. I don't know if I would have it in me to be able to sober up again. And so there's this fear. I think, yeah, fear is a word. I feel like, okay, that's a topic. Like, I feel subjectively like before, you know, 2 years ago, that maybe the word fear wasn't a big part of my experience consciously. I don't know. That's such a broad thing to say. But I didn't perceive, like, anxious, yeah, nervous, yeah, having a lot of anxiety issues, yeah. But I didn't less, I guess, since in the last 2 years, another way to put it would be, in the last 2 years, it feels like this sense of fear has very much come to the forefront of, like, sometimes sheer terror, sometimes of, like, you know, not wanting to go back, or, like, you know, afraid to go into this building, or something, or go to this event, and like kind of living with this more perpetual sense of dread, I think, is a more new experience. Other thoughts, happy thoughts. I don't know. Think about the spider. I should probably ramble to a point. How long have I been rambling? Oh, only 16 minutes. That's not that long for me. It feels like it's been hours. I don't know if I have any points. Okay, overall thoughts of maybe this last year in particular. It's sometimes it's easier, I guess, than other times, and then sometimes it's rougher. I don't know, I guess it varies, but it's been kind of tough. I think going to a wedding reception was the hardest thing I had to do, and I'm never going to do that again. My apologies. But that was very rough. But I got through it. And so I think what helped me get through that was the kindness of one. I was sitting, like, in it's the reception specifically, not the, like, wedding event itself, the reception specifically. So I think if I were ever to be invited to a wedding again, I just wouldn't go to the reception. But I was sitting at a table where everyone else at the table was a stranger to me, and of course, you know, everybody's drinking everywhere, and, you know, there's booze in front of me, and the waiter keeps bringing me, like, it was terrible. And but like, luckily, without me having to say too much, like, some of the strangers around me were nice, like, you know, like, I guess I should just describe the thing and then get through it and get it over with. But it's like, when you came into the reception at you know, because I was like, well, I'll just sit, you know, you have to sit at your assigned table, but, like, I'll just sit where there isn't any alcohol. But, like, every single seat at every single table of every single place in the reception had poured alcohol in a glass at the seat at the thing. I'm like, oh, fuck. You know, so, but it's like, I have to sit. But luckily, you know, I was like, hey, does somebody else want this? And one of the strangers at my table, like, you know, took the one that was poured. And then, you know, then they keep coming around to keep offering it to you, like, every 5 minutes. And I kept saying, like, no, but, like, they wouldn't get the hint. And then, you know, I'm, you know, like, I don't know, neurodivergent or socially awkward. I don't know these things. But, like, and they're, like, little champagne glasses. And so I had heard of the concept, I guess, of, like, you put the glass upside down. Or not, well, wine glasses. But, like, I heard of the concept, you put the glass upside down to be, like, you're finished. But I thought that was just with, like, shot glasses or something. And I wasn't sure if you could do that, like, if you should do that with a wine glass, or, like, would I hurt the wine glass, or would it be weird, or, like, I don't know. But then luckily, one of the people who was, like, kitty corner to me, because maybe, you know, they had been seeing that I'd been, like, shooing off the waiter, like, all fucking night long. Eventually, like, one of the ones across from me, maybe she decided not to drink or wasn't drinking, and then so she took her, like, wine glass and, like, put it upside down. And then once I saw that, like, she did that, then I was like, oh, that's what you do. And then I did it, and then, like, the waiter stopped bugging me. So it's like, I kind of wish I had known that signal. And then again, like, so that was this stranger over here. And then this stranger over here was like, not only was there a poured glass at every single seat, but in addition to that, there's, like, these two little, the travel hotel minibar vodkas, right there as a gift for every single person at the thing. And I'm like, oh, this is bad news. But I was like, does anybody want my thing? And then, like, this stranger over here, they took it. And then at the end of the thing, I think they brought new little gifties for everybody. And then I was supposed to say, does anybody want mine? And then, they took mine. And so I was so at the end of the day, I was so appreciative and thankful to those two strangers who I'd never met, will probably never see again, don't know who they were, who inadvertently, like, helped me out, like, a lot. And then once I felt that the reception had, like, died down enough, and, like, people were trailing out, and, like, it was sparse enough, I'm kind of, like, then I just GTFO to get out of there and then hyperventilate a bit. But see, the point, I made it, and then I'm also a part of this online Discord community, and I was, like, kind of, like, texting with them, and they were, like, kind of helping me get through it, and so that was really, really helpful. So, like, my shout out to those people. So it's like, even though a lot of times, most of the times, all the time, I'm severely and completely alone and struggling with these things, and, like, I don't really, like, have anybody there or anybody I could really trust to be there. Well, apart from, there's my mom, but even so, I'm not gonna wrangle her into this is a deeply personal thing that you do alone, and it's just like, but even though sometimes you feel like you would have liked to have people there to help you get through it, like a friend or something who could, like, empathize with your struggles and stuff, even though a lot of times it felt like that isn't present. Also appreciating on the flip side, I do have, I had, like, the online community and, like, those two strangers, and, like, there's pockets of people out there, even if I don't know them or don't know them face to face, who are still supporting me in their own way, like, just the goodness of human nature. Which is a weird thing for me to think about in general, since I'm such a cynic who's like, everybody's an asshole. Everybody. I work in retail. I work with the general public. I've been around in this world for 40 years. Almost everyone's an asshole. Self-serving, fucking, unkind, unempathetic asshole. But when you find the kindness, then you just gotta try to just really gravitate to those who are kind. And I've been very, very lucky that I've had a few really good, kind people in my life. So, help gotten me by or get me by. So, anyway, random thoughts and things and shit. I don't know. Why am I making the video? Why am I ranting? I guess because I thought, 2-year anniversary, I should have some thoughts. I think part of the reason I do this kind of, I don't know, out loud journaling is maybe the idea that, throwing a message in a bottle out to the ocean, but more like, I can watch other YouTubers or other people who are just open and honest about, like, the stuff that they go through, whether it's, like, gender transition or things, and, or just, whether it's just watching a couple of friends play a board game with each other, and I can in a, I parasocial stuff, but in a weird way you can help get you through to see that other people are going through what you're going through, or connecting with other people or whatever. YouTube's a weird thing, weird space. But like peeking into other people's living rooms, but on purpose. But I don't know, empathizing with the human race writ large, I guess. And so, if there's any value in my honesty, my vulnerability, to be like, if it resonates with other people or helps other people, or helps other people feel less alone, or that other people might be going through similar things, if that helps other people, then selfishly there could be some value to myself for trying to take my fucked up whatever's going on in my brain and use it for good. use my To put it another way, when I was going to like a group therapy thing several years ago for like depression and mood disorders and things, where brain went blank, but I was trying to say, oh, like on the flip side, people who struggle with chronic depression, I have found, are some of the most empathetic people. It's like everybody's dealing with their own demons, everyone's dealing with their own shit, but it's like that's an upside to depression, is it could potentially, or maybe not, just make you a more empathetic person. And I kind of felt that a bit from that room there with the group therapy. It's like, I don't know. Anyway, brain rambles and stuff. Maybe I'm coming down a bit from the caffeine. Not that I set out to have any kind of particular focus with said rambles. So what did I talk about? I talked about some physical changes and weight fluctuations and nutritional shit and appetite fluctuations. Physical symptoms maybe being less so, or less of an issue this year. Maybe this year still dealing with cravings, but more anxieties, more fear, I guess, was a theme. That was still kind of rough. I guess I also hesitate sometimes to say, like, I feel good, on a lot of levels, because it's just hard for me to say nice things about myself in general. But the flip side of that would be, of like, hey, I don't feel like XYZ. Like, oh, I just, every time you think, okay, like, and knowing triggers to, like, shitty day at work being a thing, or like boss bullying you being a thing, or whatever, life in general. And then, like, you're like, oh, I want to drink so bad. Like, I need whiskey, like, right now. And then being like, yeah, but is this, dick fuck worth, like, sacrificing, like, 6 months, or, like, it, or, like, at least, okay, I know you don't feel good right now, but you could always feel worse. Like, do you really want to, I don't know. That logic never worked out me in the past, though, because something about my messed up psychology, like, I craved the feeling worse. Like, something about, I was thinking about this earlier this morning, too. Something about physical pain being better than just a random day being sober and not feeling sick, because if you're just randomly walking around not feeling sick, it's boring. And at least when you're a wretched fucking wretch who's trying to just hold their insides together and just trying to figure out how to do the basic things, like sit up and like go to work and like whatever, staggering through life. I don't know, where was I going with this? Like, something about me preferring the physical pain as some kind of, I don't want to say distraction, but like that I'd rather, I don't know, it takes all you've got to deal with the physical shit. So maybe the narrative you tell yourself is that it takes your mind off the emotional shit, but that's not true. I don't know. But something. Oh, I know. Like feeling something. Kind of watching the Vlog Brothers the other day touched on it again. This idea that feeling something still beats, even if it's something wretched, still beats feeling nothing. And that's what it is you'd rather just feel something, even if it's just pain, than just nothing. Absence, boredom, staring at the wall. There's this movie that had an impact on me. The Hours, based off the book The Hours, based off the book written by Virginia Woolf, which my mind keeps blanking on, but I think it might be called Mrs. Dalloway now. But yeah, the title, the Hours in the movie, like one of the characters, with dealing with like chronic depression or like what to do with the hours, and like you can only distract yourself through so much. Anyway, well, and then I had a therapist. We were talking about how different kinds of distraction, like passive, meaningless distraction versus more active, participatory, more meaningful distraction. Like distraction in and of itself isn't a bad thing. It's if it's more like, yeah, obviously, like if you're just sitting there zoning out, staring at a TV show, not really paying attention to it, that's more of like a passive thing, versus, I don't know, even just maybe like playing a video game or making music or like even interacting with the show, like thinking about it or discussing it or something more active where you're doing and participating and thinking. Then it's more like a hobby, and then it's more, it's not just trying to slap a band-aid on something, but more like engaging with something else. I don't know. I don't think I have any focus at all. I don't think I have any drive to a conclusion kind of thoughts. I think I was working through physical stuff into emotional stuff and the anxieties. I've had a lot of anxieties this year, but not everything is all related to just drinking. Like I've been having a lot of driving anxieties. That's a thing. I mean, it's been an ongoing thing, but I feel like it's been getting worse this year or something. Anyway, anxieties in general, but then it's not just a trajectory, because a lot of anxieties have come down. Like the pandemic really threw a lot of kerosene on a lot of my anxiety issues, and I feel like a lot of those have come down because, I'm not leaving the house with a mask in my pocket every day, and like I have a lot of my fears and realistic caution, I think, to some degree, a lot of that has de-escalated a bit to be included with more driving anxiety, but it's a fluid mix of anxieties, some lessened and some turned up and down or whatever. It's fun. But I don't know. I'm still around. So I must have some mechanisms within me for mediating various emotional obstacles. Yeah, something profound and shit. I don't know. What do I do to get by in addition to like trying vainly to seek community? Is I don't know, what are my skills in dealing with shit? I don't know. All power to the meetings for whoever likes them and whoever they work for, and I'm sure they work for a lot of people fine. But for me personally, sometimes helpful, sometimes not. It was maybe in the beginning, but there were a lot of things for me that were a turn off. But so that wasn't like a staple of what's gotten me by, but not knocking it either. There's complicated feelings on that. A lot of it has to do with my atheism, actually. But anyway, like stuff and things. Avoidance, I think, has been a big thing of like avoiding certain. Like, I'm not going to go to a New Year's Eve party. I'm not going to go to any future wedding receptions. I'm not going to, avoidance of things. Also, there's a lot of shit you can't avoid, like commercials coming on or whatever. So then, I think part of it is, as they say, like, knowing your triggers and stuff. Like, to the extent you can, and, like, that's a thing, is, like, being mindful of things, and then, something about, like, I know more in the first year about the whole, like, kind of riding the wave thing, and, like, kind of, like, acknowledging that you're having a craving, and, like, that it will pass kind of thing. Maybe less of that this year, but kind of just bearing that all in mind on like a subconscious level, kind of a mixture of like okay, I'm being triggered, okay, and like there are still time there, I'll get like white knuckled, and things, and but I don't know, stuff. I don't know. I think just having general anxiety all the time and like a real sense of fear and stuff. I don't know. I guess I can't. Maybe this whole thing was for me to try to consciously come to terms with what I have been doing the past year that's been working so that I could, like, put a name on it or something. But then when I try to think about it, poof, like, maybe it's just things that are happening on a more subconscious level than I can fully be consciously aware of. There's no plan. Maybe there's no plan, there's no strategy, there's no nothing, and maybe it's just like, as they say, like each day as it is. You just, I can't think about like far off. You just think about, tomorrow, this moment kind of thing. There have definitely been moments where I'm like, I fucking need booze, like, right now, and just, I don't know how I get through it. So, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But, anyway, these are just random thoughts in my head. Maybe I'll go look at the spider again. I don't know. Okay, so to end this pseudo fucked up therapy session on a silver lining and thinking about positive things. So, like, what do I plan to do right now? I should probably watch something. And I have been anxiously awaiting Our Flag Means Death Season 2. I just have been reluctant to like give Max money. Um, but I know I would thoroughly enjoy that because I was completely like hyper fixated on Our Flag Means Death season one, completely, and that is something I need to like own, like in physical media or something. I need to have it so that I don't have to like toggle like Max on and off, Max on and off. But anyway, I don't know, other stuffs, other things and stuffs. I don't know. I should probably just end the video. Scatterbrain thoughts as always. But okay, so I guess that is that.